I just wanted to give a little bit of a disclaimer for this episode. I almost didn't because you probably would have listened to it and not known any different. But if you listen to episode 0, you'll remember I said that I almost started this podcast a couple of different times and then just felt that prompting or that sense that I needed to wait. Well, the first time was 4 years ago now. And there's a handful of episodes that I recorded during that time. And I'm going to be releasing those because, one, I just want to honor and respect the artists and the writers and the producers who gave their time to me. In fact, I've personally apologized to a few of my guests just for the false start and also just that it took so long. What's interesting is in this episode, you'll hear Tony refer to some things. For instance, toward the end, we refer to my 12-year-old daughter. Well, she's now 16, and there's other things like that. But the thing for me that mostly made me want to give this little intro is Tony and I are actually good friends. I consider him a dear friend of mine. And at the time, we had kind of just met. And so the tone of our conversation to me doesn't feel at all like the comfort level and the tone of our conversation now. And I say that because there's actually a depth of relationship there to where some of the questions I ask, one, I wouldn't ask now, but two, they also feel a lot more naive to me now listening to it after having been in the industry, a published songwriter, and overall just a lot more comfortable in my own skin, honestly. So I've actually mentioned to Tony that I would love to have him back on the podcast at some point, and we can have kind of a part 2, a more updated, a more probably real conversation. But out of respect for him, I wanted to still share this valuable episode. Also, he just drops gold, willing to share vulnerability and to really open up about the very real struggles of being a staff songwriter in Nashville, Tennessee. So, Tony, if you are listening, I just want to thank you for your time, brother. And I also want to just honor you. 4 years ago, when I first met you, when we first had this interview, I referred to you as a legend in the Christian music space. And just so you know, as much as I consider you a friend, I still hold you in high regard as a legend and as someone whose shoulders I stand upon, someone who paved the way for what I get to do now. I appreciate you, man. Anyways, probably too much, but hopefully it sets a good context for you. With all that said, I hope you enjoy this episode with my friend, Tony Wood.
I know I'm an imposter. I know I'm just faking it and getting by. And these people are really good, and I'm going to be found out as the fraud. I know that. I'm just a lot more familiar with that feeling.
Legend in the Christian music community, songwriter of over 30 number ones, multiple impressive, amazing cuts, and just an overall fantastic dude to be with. Welcome, Tony Wood.
Thanks, man. Been looking forward to this. Just hanging out with a friend talking.
Me too, man. For those that don't know you, was hoping you could share a little bit about how you got involved in music.
Kind of got the music bug, middle school, high school, listening to radio. Church was the center of a whole lot of life, youth choir. I always loved hymns even as a kid, just through boring sermons, sitting there reading the text of hymns and just being moved. Sometimes I remember, gosh, the hymn, Holy, 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 seraphim and cherubim falling down before him, casting down their golden crowns around the glassy sea. And when I didn't really get what all of that was, but it was just moving to me. Loved that, and probably started writing songs about 9th or 10th grade. And like every guy that writes his first songs, it's always crappy love songs to get the girl. And I was stupid enough to actually play some of those for girls in our church youth group. I kind of regret that sometimes these days because those songs were pretty bad. But kept writing, after you're in the 10th grade and you write about 5 love songs. And it's like, you're by song 2, you're out of your league with what you really know at that point. So you're making stuff up. But I started writing about what was going on in my life at a faith level. I mean, faith really was important to me even then. And writing about what I was dealing with, kind of stealing from my friends' life and buddies in the youth group and writing songs about what I knew they were facing and what they were dealing with. Never wanted to sing one of them anywhere in public, but I started kind of drafting friends from my youth group to sing in church, and our church. I didn't mind playing piano for somebody else to sing it, but I kind of staying completely in the background. That worked for me. And then I was free to go create something else, Did that through college, did that through even seminary. And, so the difference between 15 and like 25, I'm like doing this. I don't know a songwriter. Now, I've never met a songwriter during any of that. I know names on credits for music that I like and listen to, and seen some people in concert, but never met or had a conversation with a real songwriter. Had a hard time getting co-writers too. Just nobody else was passionate about that. Nobody in my college wanted to do that, but I wasn't slowing down. And, I recognize it was a bit of obsessive behavior on my part, and this is either destiny or it's not healthy, one or the other. And thinking about, gosh, if I continue down that road and hit 40 and had a box of songs under my bed that I'd never shown anybody, that kind of gnawed at me deep inside. Started sending off, gosh, that would have been the 80s. So I was mailing songs into Nashville through little bits. You find things in Songwriter magazine, and there was something else for Christian music at that time, like a newsletter that came about every 2 months. And they would say, for this month, for our subscribers, Benson Records will be listening to anything you submit. And I got letters back that were some helpful critique stuff in it along the way. But other than that, no real interaction on songs. So finishing school, and my wife was up for the adventure. And so we moved here, not knowing anybody, but kind of sensing it felt like the right thing at the right time. Got here and started, we took temporary jobs just to try to buy groceries. Started attending what I called University of the Bluebird Cafe, going to the early shows because they were free. Then, and because my question was, so how good is good? Because nobody had ever kind of told me how good is. And sitting in the Bluebird, I found out how good was, and it crushed me. It was devastating. It was like, oh, that's how good is. I am so far from good. Just, and yet it's funny. When I tell this story, I can kind of physically feel this, that I would sit there in the Bluebird just defeated, just like I've dragged my wife 10 hours from home, and we are here, and this is not going to end well.
Did you feel like, are we insane? Or are we crazy?
I knew that I could live with, if I came here and gave it a fair, reasonable shot and it didn't work out. I could not live with the not knowing. So I have at a peace even in coming, that if I'm come here and give it 5 years and it's just clear this is not you and you are wasting your time, I think I can go back to Virginia or Carolina or somewhere and be at peace that at least I tried. But it was the not knowing that I could not live with along the way. But I would step out of the Bluebird, like those on winter nights, standing in that parking lot along Hillsborough, and the cold wind blows, and something would just kind of snap back for me. It was like, well, I've come too far, and God, did I not seek you? Have we not prayed about this for 7 or 8 years at this point? And have I not said, I want what you want for me? I don't want what Tony wants for me, and continuing to sense his leading in that. It's like, well, we've come this far. So, I drive by there still some days, and I feel that. I feel a crushing and a bit of a resurrection just standing in that parking lot of well, we're here. Let's see what tomorrow holds for me.
You kind of described like sitting in the Bluebird and being devastated by how good is.
Yeah.
Do you ever have that same feeling? Like over the years, do you ever feel that in a room with anyone?
Oh my gosh, buddy. All the time. I know I'm an imposter. I know I'm just faking it and getting by. And these people are really good, and I'm going to be found out as the fraud. I know that. I'm just a lot more familiar with that feeling now.
That's relieving for me, and I'm sure others to hear you say that.
And I think I've just been this close to enough writers through the years, to that honest conversation when the song is written. Mm-hmm. And I know I'm not alone in that. I lived a long time walking into every room knowing I am the insecure one, afraid of being found out. And through enough trusting, intimate conversation with people I love and respect, I'm going, it's everybody. That's been a thing for the last pretty significant part of the journey. I've been able to articulate for myself the difference in the pursuit of faithfulness versus the pursuit of success. Because I can't make anything happen. The only thing I can do is to try to be as excellent in the moments of crafting the song as possible. That's it. Now, I want to do that as well as I can. And I want to do good business. I want my publishers to like it. I want them to present it to an artist or to a label. I want an artist to walk out of a room and tell their producer, their managers, oh, I really like this. I'd love to do this. But I can't make them like it. I can't make somebody pick that song, even if they record it, to be the radio single. Even if it's the radio single, I can't make anybody play it. Even if they play it, I can't push it one notch up the chart. So I've made some peace with that, with just be faithful.
I remember when we first met, you shared a story about being a youth pastor and hearing your song on the radio while you were with your church staff. Is that something you can feel comfortable sharing? Or
I mean, I was working 50 hours a week as a church, the student pastor, the worship leader guy here in town. I had Thursdays were my day off. So in terms of being a writer, I did that on my own time. I had, like I said, I wrote twice on Thursday, and also by writing lyrics at night, staying from, once the kids were down from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. and then giving them to guys to write. We were able to write a lot more songs than just 2 songs a week.
And real quick, was that a habit that you developed that you like? Don't you still write late at night?
I still do. I mean, that's just high school. I was in college and
always been a night owl, huh?
Always have. Yeah. It was like 1:15 last night. Just, I don't know.
So that's interesting, is that I wonder if people might have this idea that they're going to show up in Nashville, get a publishing deal, and then not have to work a day job anymore. And that wasn't the case. So it was interesting. Just you're working this full-time in ministry and writing with a publishing deal.
Yeah. And 4 young kids.
And 4 young kids.
So it was a little it's crazy.
So you can't remember all the details of that season.
Ooh, there's a lot. No.
I just thought that was hilarious. You're working this job and not even everyone you worked with knew that you were a writer.
Yeah, I just didn't talk about that. I don't know. I just didn't want to create suspicion or something like that.
Yeah.
I was on church time. I had begun to have some songs on the radio and all of that. And like one day driving to a lunch meeting with the pastor and That's my song on the radio, but we didn't talk about that.
Man, I totally get that. I mean, I was a worship pastor in full-time ministry for 15 years before moving to Nashville. And it was always interesting trying to figure out, I'm called to this and I'm here and I'm present and I'm doing my job and I'm doing it as well as I can.
Yep.
And yet when I go home, I'm thinking about songs. I'm thinking about producing. And it's just, it's sort of going back to what we were talking about sometimes feeling like a fish out of water.
Because nobody else is
and it's
obsessing.
And it's almost like if you did bring it up, people would just look at you like you're a mad scientist or something, you know?
Like if I had a buddy who's talking about the new pharmaceutical developments and stuff, I'm like, I don't care, buddy. It's like, I'd look at them like they'd look at me if I'm talking about somebody's new record or something. And it's like, it's just following areas of passion.
You've been, I mean, I'm guessing close to 35 years in this town and involved in Christian music. I'm wondering if you have any thoughts on how it's different now than it was then.
Yeah, I think the most significant difference that I think I've experienced was at first when I got signed and started, there were more opportunities for two guys to get together to write a song and then have an artist pick it up and do it. Have somebody play it for them. Man, I love that. That was a great period of just getting together for a day with another writer and, okay, who are about 10 artists out there that may look at a song if we write it, who do we want to shoot for? And sometimes it was kind of a trickle down. Well, if so-and-so doesn't do it, then maybe so-and-so will. And that doesn't exist much anymore. It still exists in Southern gospel music, but as far as Christian CCM, it doesn't. So it's more of getting with the artist, sitting in the room with it. And that's hard. That's, if a new writer coming to town, everybody keeps a wish list of who they want to and hope to grateful to have checked off some significant ones on that for myself, just to sit and get to know them and to work together. But I think if for a newer writer coming to town, it's going to be far more who is coming to town with you, who are you around that is going to be a signed artist in 3 years and 5 years and getting to know. And I see some guys doing that. And it's like, okay, it's going to take a lot of years of working beneath the waterline. And then there will be this moment where, oh, look, these two got signed in the same 6-month period. Oh, look, you've got songs on those records. Oh, look, you've got 2 singles. And suddenly, like, you stepped onto the stage at that point. I think that's probably the path these days.
You mentioned that everyone keeps a list of those, the wish list of the artists. Do any stick out to you?
Oh, golly. Oh, Michael W. Smith. That was so significant. I would, it was such a For Him fans. So to get to know Mark Harris along the way, and then there were a number of records into a career before I finally got the chance to send some lyrics through my publisher to him, and he sent back, and so we had kind of written a couple of songs before we actually met. He had kind of sent back some songs to the publisher and based on my lyrics. And so then it was a reason when he came to town to get in the room and spend a day with Wayne Watson once. And I was such a Wayne fan. Those records are so good.
In this town, you're kind of known as a lyricist. When did you know, or did you know?
My eyes were open to that from those letters that I mailed into town. when the response consistently was, "Buddy, this music sucks." and they were only slightly kinder about the words. And I know the second time that I got that letter, I kind of did some self-evaluation and I went, you know what? I am passionate about what songs say, and I am functional at music at best. I'm a functional player. I'm a functional melody writer. You know, the standard in this town is a little better than functional. So, I can write a melody, but then there are people who just breathe out magical melodies.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's not me. And I thought, oh, okay, I really am. If you divide the song in half, this is probably the side that I fall more onto. That was a late college kind of a thing for me. And I kind of, it changed something in me because I kind of went, well, I'm not going to waste a lot of time then going with things that aren't my strength. I'm just going to write words on paper, kind of structure it out like verse, chorus, bridge. And maybe there will be a time in the sovereignty of God that he brings me into a room with somebody who got the same but opposite letter that I got, who got a letter saying, boy, your music was a little bit better than your words. That was a significant kind of a wager moment. There's a quote from like Peter Drucker that says, I won't get it exactly right, but it says, you know, anytime you see someone with any degree of success in something, you know, they made some courageous choices along the way. I didn't know it at the time, but that was kind of one of those significant turns in the road for me that, okay, will there be other guys out there? And, and then so beginning a relationship with a publisher, and then he started putting me in the room with guys who had basically got that other letter, that they were more on the melodic sense, and started finding my people. Songwriter Paula Carpenter said she came to town trying to find her people because she lived in Texas and nobody ever had the same passions that she did. And it was the first time of finding guys my age who had grown up just as nerded out about rhyme schemes and bridges and song structure and all of that. And just this bond that, oh my gosh, there's this place that we connect, that I've got other buddies that I love, but we don't talk about that stuff. So,
right.
Yeah.
Kristen and I were just talking about that the other day, how I think that is part of the path that led us here is a similar kind of feeling, like just being a fish out of water in our community. Like, man, why is it so hard to find people that care this much about this element of
this
a song?
little thing. Yeah.
It's like, I feel like I'm weird. I always feel weird, you know? So, I totally get that. It's funny you say that quote and where it uses the word courageous, because when you were sharing about just getting those letters and still making the move out here, that was kind of a word I was thinking of, actually. Was like, that's kind of courageous, or like there's something like
that line between foolishness and faithfulness is so thin at sometimes, man. It's tough to tell.
It's crazy. So a few months ago, I was hanging with a mutual friend, and he said, hey, did you know Tony writes books? Did you know he wrote a parenting book? Where did that come about?
Yeah, that was a crazy opportunity I had. That came out of a song with Mark Harris years ago when he left For Him and did his first solo record. He walked into the room one day and was like, hey, I want to write a song about our kids, kind of a prayers and the dreams that they will have. And, okay, this is kind of a crazy story. That was a Tuesday morning. That weekend, I was so deeply moved by the movie October Sky. My kids were, probably the oldest may have been about middle school, but they were kind of young. But I wanted them to see that movie. So we watched it. And that night when they went to bed, I wrote them all individual letters, just about, hey, I want you to know, if it is something God puts in you, I mean, it's still based off my story. Good Lord, it doesn't take a detective to draw those lines. But if it's something that God has put in you, just have the faith, have the courage, go for it. Dream big and go for it. So that was, I gave them those letters Sunday or Monday after watching that. And Tuesday, Mark walks in and says, hey, I want to write a song about our kids and just the dreams that they will have. I always remember, I think he used the phrase like something, you think you got any gas in the tank for that? And it was just laughable. It was like, are you kidding? Any day on the plane, there's just those moments. It's like, well, that was pretty divinely teed up for that day. So we wrote a song called "Find Your Wings," and out of that there were talks of books based around that, and my music publisher took meetings with book publishers about that, and then they were proposing something, and it didn't kind of come to be. But over coffee one day, the acquisitions lady at B&H said, "Well, hey, would you ever have interest in maybe doing a book of 365 prayers for your kids, like one a day?" And I was like, "Interesting. Give me a couple of weeks to see if I can outline that thing." So I got to do it. Yeah, hope it's going to really find its place.
Well, for those listening that might be interested, it's called A Parent's Book of Prayers, and I'll definitely link to it.
Great.
So speaking of parenting, kind of a funny little thing that happened is, for whatever reason, I'm sitting at breakfast this morning with my kids, and I just said, "Hey, if you were interviewing Mr. Tony, what would you ask him?"
Oh, good Lord.
So the first thing Jude just shot out without, I barely asked that question. He said, "What does he think of Joe Biden?"
Let's not go there.
And I said, he probably won't want to answer that, Jude, but anything else. So Cadence said, "Do you still like to keep learning, even though you've already done and learned so much
Oh my God.
in your life?"
I keep a stack of books beside my nightstand. Yeah. And, when that stack starts getting low, it's like, okay, head to Amazon. Let's go order 5 or 6 more to keep there. Yeah. Golly, always.
Selah, my 12-year-old, she said, "I would ask, what has been your biggest struggle and how have you gone about solving it?"
Good Lord. What's wrong with that kid?
What's wrong with her?
I'll tell you the truth, man. It's comparison. Oh, it is so toxic. It's the acid that eats the soul of us. And seasons of doing it well and seasons of not doing it well. Man, when you have a stretch where nothing is happening for you and it's happening for all your buddies, I know me. I mean, I know when the needle of the compass starts pinging a little bit in that direction. And I just have to go, pray, God, take this. I want good for my buddies. I don't want to be jealous. I want to cheer for the good that happens with my friends. That's a tough thing in this town. It's like, if we can both get a song on a record, man, that's just as much fun as anything.
Yeah.
Good for me, good for you, good to share that moment with you. If only one of us can win. Now, I do want to win. I do like to buy groceries for my family, things like that. It's this awful tension that I feel along the way, but I don't want to win at your expense. I won't step on you in order for me to get ahead. That's not winning. If somebody chooses my song over your song, well, that's just out of my head. That's not a personal thing, but I'm gonna value people more than songs. I think that's a kingdom perspective, and I don't want to be jealous. Well, look what happened to him. Oh my gosh, he got on that record. I wrote 3 songs trying to get on that record and mine didn't get picked. Well, I sit in that tension a lot.
So real.
Just to sit there in that, not to do something foolish to make the tension go away. Like, oh, it's okay. Well, no, it's not okay. I feel this. One of my pastors said one time, sometimes faith looks like simply refusing to panic, to just sit in that tension and not freak out. And that the maturity to sit there and go, these 2 things are true. I wish it had gone my way, but God, you're writing my story. Okay. So I just sit in the middle of that. Yeah. Comparison. It just eats us. It eats, because we are all, what do we look at every week? Look at the chart. Look at who's number 4, and look at who's number 12, and look who's not on the chart in this week or this month. Some point you go, I will not let that define me. I am, if I'm number 1 or I'm not even on it, that is not a reflection of who I am as a child of God. I will not find my identity in that. I'll enjoy fun things when they happen, when they come along.
I don't think there's a person listening that doesn't get that. Do you think just the comparison thing, has it gotten worse with social media where it's just always in front of you all day long, people sharing status updates and
who they're with in a day that you go, oh, they got so-and-so. But it's one more way that it can be coming at you right in your face. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Us guys, too, I think we can sometimes put all of our identity and value into our work and our production and our performance and our achievements and successes and things. And so it's another layer of it on top of it.
Mix in with that a holy calling to provide for your family. And it's like, what God, did I not follow you in this adventure? Did you not call me out into this strange kind of barren land? I think this is being faithful, and yet I'm not seeing a lot of provision coming. Sit in that tension, but don't freak out. Feel your inner organs pulling at one another and separating as you sit there and try to be faithful in that. Holy cow, man, it's tough.
Absolutely. Yesterday, I was sitting in here writing with a mutual friend of ours, and we were just talking through the faithfulness aspect, but then the also, like, do I actually believe that his eye is on the sparrow and that I know he's watching for me? Do I actually believe that he knows what I need before I ask? Do I actually believe that God's a good father and is going to provide when I'm used to living in seasons of feast, you know? But do I also believe that in famine?
Yeah. In the sovereignty of God, did he miss this when he led you here? Is he on the throne of heaven going, oh, golly, I forgot that there was going to be that recession thing coming. I was like, no, completely faithful, saw it, knew it, knows how he will sustain you and provide for you through it. So it's like, okay, be at peace, but be honest about the tension too. You feel that. I mean, yeah.
Curious, just since we're on the heart level, you've got over 30 number ones. What does success feel like, or should I say, what does the drive towards success feel like when you're on the other end of 30 number ones 30 years later?
Well, there's the awareness that there is no point of arrival. There is never a moment where those things satisfy. I know for me, I know for all writers, you know what we want on our deathbed. One more hit song. It's that discontent is within us. There's never an arrival in that. Those things do not satisfy. Now, doing good work satisfies. Creating a song that ministers to people, that gives them hope and encouragement, that satisfies at the end of the day when you close your eyes and put your head on a pillow and go, oh my gosh, look what God did. Look how he sustained somebody. You know, there are those letters and emails along the way, but a thing shiny to hang on your wall will never satisfy. And if you start connecting identity to that, ooh, you have stepped into a bad spot, buddy. I remember that, like, the first time I heard a song of mine come on the radio, and then that song is over with, and it's on to the next song. And there's something it's funny. I heard Diane Warren talk about that in an interview once. She said, "You always had this faith that there was going to be the first one. You've never thought about the second one. Like, that one's over with, and then you're like, oh, and now what?" But there is this. The first time I bought a project that I had a song on, and you look at it, you go, well, all right, well, there that is. And 20 seconds later, you're like, okay, now what? It just, there's no arrival in any of those things. They're nice. they're fun. Hearing your song on the radio will always be a fun experience, and then it's over with.
If you were to go back to 1985 Tony Wood,
Okay.
with all the stuff you know now, what would you tell that guy?
Oh my gosh. I would talk to him about the sovereignty of God. I would say, buddy, he's got it far more than you think he does. Sam, you're wiping me out, buddy. Why are you doing this? I would say, don't worry. Don't worry as much as you do. I wasted a lot on that. I mean, I did. He's got you. He's writing the story. It's a good story. It's not going to be easy, but he's got you.
Thank you.
It's about the relationship and seeking him and letting him lead. Try to be aware of what is you and your flesh, because you're not going to make it happen. But if he's leading, opening the door, if it's scary, a good measure along the way, then follow him. Follow him.
Well, brother, you are a gift, man. Thank you so much for today. And just opening up your heart and just sharing your story.
Enjoyed the conversation, Sam.
Yeah.
Just sitting there hanging with you felt like just having a conversation like I thought it would. So that's good.
Thank you for coming out to the cabin, man.
Yeah.
Looking forward to the next time we get to write something too.
I do too.